All right, so I'm super excited and to actually be on a coaching call with a dear friend of ours, Lana and Alberto, and I want to go through and talk about the 3 steps to have a breakthrough in your life, because this was one of the most powerful things that I learned from Tony Robbins, right? And so Tony Robbins really believes that there's really 3 steps for you to have a breakthrough in your life, and it's really broken down this way, right? And if you have a pen and paper, you might want to draw out these 3 circles, right? The first thing in order for you to have a breakthrough in your life is you need to have the right strategy, right? So for most people, for example, if they're looking to lose weight, they need to come up with a strategy, right? And the problem usually is that there's not enough strategy. That's not the problem. There's a million diets out there, and the reason why people don't lose weight, it's not because the strategy doesn't work. But for most people, what they think is the thing that's stopping them from breaking through in any area of their life, they usually think it's a strategy problem, right? Which is usually not the case, because I'm sure you guys can agree, Lana and Alberto, that it's not a strategy problem that you have, right? In order for you to achieve any results. What Tony believes is it's actually not a strategy problem. It's usually a story problem. And the story means is usually that little voice that you have in your head. For example, if you're afraid of going out there and doing invitations, you have a story in your mind that's saying, hey, I'm not good enough. I'm not like other people. I'm not brave enough. That's the reason why I can't do that. And that's the reason why I can't do it as well as other people, right? But I think if you go a little bit deeper than that, the reason why you come up with that sort of story is because of your state, the state that you're in, which is really about how do you feel in that moment, right? And what that's creating for most people is, for most people, what they don't understand is, as a result of having the wrong state of mind, which is AKA for some people, their belief, the amount of personal development they've done, how much they believe in themselves. Do I have the guts to do this? For example, if you're looking to go and do an invitation and speak to someone, do I have the guts to speak to someone? And am I worthy enough? Am I good enough, right? So the one thing that I want you to think about is, I really want you to think about these 3 steps. And I actually want you guys to reverse the process. Like Lana and Albert, I want you guys to reverse this process. And I want you to think about this, right? Because before you actually do something, it's really, the problem is this, right? It's usually, instead of being a strategy issue or a story issue, it actually starts with being in the right state of mind. So maybe that is step number 1. You need to be in the right frame of mind first. And that's the reason why doing personal development is a very important thing. First thing in the morning is because, like Jim Rohn said, weeds grow automatically. When you start your day, all you need to do is turn on the news, and I guarantee you're going to hear more bad news than good news, because bad news sells. But when you go out there and you meet other people, there's a very good chance that someone has something negative to say. So you need to make sure you protect your mind. And that's the reason why they say fuel your mind with positive information first thing in the morning. So when you go out there, you can conquer the world, right? So it doesn't change your state. So the first thing that I would do if I was you, if you want to have any breakthrough in your life, is you need to make sure that you have the right state. You're in the right state of mind. You believe that you can do this. Change your belief structure. And as a result of having the right belief, it's going to lead to a better story. So for example, when I believe that I can do something and I feel motivated and I listen to some PD and I go out there, there's a very good chance that I'm going to go and have a better workout, for example. And the reason why I have a better workout is because being in the right state of mind, it changes the story that I have in my head, which says, I believe that I can do that. I believe that I have the guts to speak to that person. I believe that I can do it. I believe that I'm worthy. And as a result of being in the right state of mind, having the right story, it leads to a better strategy. Then I come up with an effective strategy of doing things. So the problem is this, right? When people go through a crisis and they're trying to break through, instead of starting with state, then going to their story and then coming up with their strategy, they try and do the reverse, right? Which is usually your brain's survival mechanism. The first thing you start with is, right now, I don't believe that I'm capable of doing it, because you don't feel like you're in the right state of mind. As a result, you have this little voice in your head, your story, and as a result, you come up with a poor strategy and you can't execute. So I really think it's really important that if you guys, listening to this and you want to break through in your life, you have to be conscious about this process. You need to think next time, okay, fine. Right now, I'm about to do something that's really important in my life, but I don't have the courage to do it. I don't believe in myself. what is the step that I need to change in order for me to have a breakthrough? Maybe I need to do some personal development. Maybe I need to get in the right state of mind. And that's the reason why before a boxing match, for example, people psych themselves up, is because they need to get in the right state. And when they get in the right state, they believe they can go out there and conquer, they can win the fight. When they come up with that sort of story, then they have an effective strategy. They go out there and then they pull out the right moves. They're able to become very successful. So I think it's really important. I think this process is very obvious, but I think at the same time, you need to be very conscious about that. So I hope that was helpful for me to share with you guys. So, but if you do want a copy of a link that kind of explains this, do reach out to me or send me a message, and I can send you guys a copy of the link to sort of explain this in further detail. So does that make sense to you, Lana and Albert? That's really a process. And if you guys can unmute now, I've paused the recording. I'll stop it.
Okay. Yeah, that was pretty powerful. Very, very good.
Yeah. And so it applies in your business as well. It applies in even your family business as well. Do you know the reason why sometimes business owners don't come up with an effective strategy? Is because they've got a story in their head. And until you change that story about yourself, so your language, Lana, is very, very important. The language you're using right now is really, really important. So you have to be